purpose of the instructional coach is to work directly with teachers to help them identify their strengths and weaknesses in the classroom and help them improve their craft. The role of the instructional coach is to use evidence-based strategies and techniques in a one-to-one setting to guide teachers' instructions to be more meaningful and relevant to their students. In order to be a successful instructional coach, a partnership with the teacher must be formed and based on trust and respect. Forming relationships with coworkers may not always be easy, especially when the instructional coach is an evaluator. However, there are several steps an instructional coach can take in order to build a positive working relationship with teachers. In this video, I will discuss ways that an instructional coach can build trusting relationships with teachers, as well as providing effective, descriptive feedback during evaluations. An instructional coach must empower teachers to talk about their weaknesses, encourage them to take risks, and reflect upon their practice. This requires a relationship where both parties are willing to be vulnerable because the instructional coach must be authentic and realistic when it comes to another person making a positive change. Mrs. Hatcher has been a teacher for 16 years and has had the opportunity to work with several instructional coaches. Mrs. Hatcher, as a teacher, why is it important to build a positive relationship with an instructional coach?
Well, just like students learn best when they feel safe and secure in an environment, teachers also learn best when they feel safe and secure. They need to feel comfortable enough to take risks, to try new techniques with their instructional coach, and so it's important to have a good relationship so that teachers can try new things without being afraid of failure.
How else can building a positive relationship with an instructional coach affect a teacher?
It helps when the teacher respects and values what the instructional coach says, and so it's important to have a good vibe with your instructional coach so that you're willing to try what they want you to do, so that you're willing to accept their feedback, both positive and constructive, and just to have a good working environment. It's important to have a good relationship.
Thank you. Building trust is a critical step an instructional coach must take before they can communicate effectively, offer suggestions, and mentor teachers. Building a trusting relationship between the instructional coach and teacher is vital because allowing an instructional coach into their classroom and being observed can be very intimidating to a teacher. Building trust helps ensure that relationships are healthy, making the environment safe for taking risks. Building trust takes time and can begin by building a personal relationship between the instructional coach and the teacher. Hi, Mrs. Hatcher. My name is Barbara Shy, and I'm going to be your instructional coach for this year. I'm here to help you with any questions that you may have and just maybe show you some teaching strategies that might help improve classroom instruction. So tell me, how long have you been a teacher?
I've been teaching here at Valley Life for 7 years. Prior to that, I taught in other school districts for a total of 9 years, and I've subbed for 2 years.
And what grade are you currently teaching?
Right now I'm teaching 6th grade. In the past I've taught 1st grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I've taught classroom music, and currently I'm teaching 6th grade, and I have 2 periods of orchestra.
And how many years have you been teaching at Valley Life Charter School?
This is my 7th year at Valley Life.
Okay, and I also heard that you took some time off to be a stay-at-home mom?
Yes, when we started having our kids, I stayed home for about 10 years.
And tell me about your children.
Well, I have a daughter who's 21, about to graduate from college. I have a son who's 19 who just finished his freshman year in college, and I have 2 17-year-old twin boys who are going to be seniors next year in high school.
When a teacher has an instructional coach observe them and offer suggestions on different strategies they should use, they will want to know what classroom experience the instructional coach has and if they have tried the same strategies that they are suggesting to the teacher. Many strategies sound great when you read them about in a book. However, until you try these strategies in a real classroom setting with different types of students, the teachers may not be enthusiastic about trying a new strategy. It is great to meet you, Mrs. Hatcher. We actually have a lot in common. I've been teaching science for 6 years, and all of them have been at Valley Life Charter School. I've taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science along with high school science. Before that, I was a forensic chemist for the Department of Justice, Drug Enforcement Administration, and Washington State Patrol for 8 years, and I also worked as a chemical engineer in Sweden. I was also a stay-at-home mom for 11 years. I have a son, Eric, who is 18. I have a son, Trevor, who is 15, and a daughter, Holly, who is 9. And I think I've seen you before because I think our boys have played baseball together. You kind of look familiar.
Yes, they were on the same team as 8-year-olds, I believe. So I'm sure I've seen you on the baseball fields. Why did you become an instructional coach?
I became one because I want to help teachers be the best that they can be. With my experience as a chemical engineer and a forensic chemist, I know what students need to be scientific thinkers. I have several strategies that I have in my toolbox that I have successfully implemented into my classroom, and I want to share these strategies with others because I know that the teachers could use them to help strengthen students' critical thinking skills and become science thinkers.
It makes me happy that you're going to teach strategies that you have successfully implemented in your classroom. Your background experience will bring a lot of fresh ideas to the classroom. I'm really looking forward to working with you.
An instructional coach must provide feedback to teachers. If given correctly, feedback can give a teacher motivation and direction as well as allowing them to improve upon their teaching practices and take responsibility for their progress. Feedback needs to be authentic, realistic, and must come from experience. Mrs. Hatcher, thank you for inviting me to come in and observe your classroom today. I had a great time today.
I'm glad.
I can tell that they really respect you and they wanted you to have a great observation. I can tell that you have a personal relationship with each of the students, and I was able to see how Eliana worked as a peer tutor with Isabella. I could tell that Isabella really likes Eliana and feels comfortable with enough to ask clarifying questions, and it also helps Eliana understand the content at a deeper meaning.
Eliana is a great friend to many students, and she's always eager to help. I had a really hard time motivating Trevor to complete his assignment. Whenever I assign a peer tutor with Trevor, it doesn't work because Trevor's just not motivated to complete any assignment and really relies on the peer tutor to do his work for him.
Yes, Trevor caught my eye. I had a student just like Trevor in my class. I tried several strategies to motivate the student. Some were successful and some were not. I would like to share these strategies with you to see if they would help Trevor be more motivated.
That sounds great. I am eager to hear about the different strategies that worked for you. They are tried and true, and I hope that they will work for Trevor.
In order to be effective, the feedback needs to be descriptive and given with the perception that they are trying to help and not criticize the teachers. The instructional coach needs to know the teacher on a personal and professional level so that they know how to communicate effective feedback to teachers in such a way that they are not giving the perception that they are negative or that they are trying to micromanage the teachers. Given a task, I noticed that my student never read the instructions, and I noticed that Trevor did that as well.
Yes, Trevor doesn't read the instructions, so after explaining the instructions to the class, I walk over to Trevor and quietly explain the instructions to him and answer any questions he may have.
That was great. And I also noticed that Trevor kept looking at the worksheets to see how many questions he had to answer.
Yes, I noticed that too. I think it's because he gets overwhelmed with the amount of work he has to do. So I circle the questions that I really want him to answer, hoping that that will motivate him to complete just those questions.
You know, I did the same thing with my student, and what ultimately worked for me was when I put one question per sheet of paper, and then I would give them that one question and explain to him what exact information I would like to have, and he answered that question. Sometimes he would answer it, and sometimes he wouldn't, but once he was successfully able to answer one question, I gave him another question on another sheet of paper. By putting just one question on the paper, where they would just focus on that one question and not worry about the rest. We would even set goals on how many questions he would answer, and I would give him some rewards if he met that goal.
That sounds like a great idea. I will try that with Trevor.
The purpose of the instructional coach is to help teachers recognize their strengths and weaknesses and use those to help them improve their craft. At times, this can be difficult because teachers need to feel comfortable enough for an instructional coach to evaluate them and suggest strategies for improvement. In order to be a successful instructional coach, one must be able to empower teachers to want to be evaluated, take risks, and change strategies that are not working. An instructional coach must first build a personal and professional relationship with their teachers. Once that has been established, instructional coaches must build a trusting relationship with their teachers in order for the teachers to feel receptive to being evaluated, given feedback, and given new strategies. To continue building a personal trusting relationship, descriptive, effective feedback must be given in a way that the teacher feels empowered to try new strategies and not feel like they are being criticized. By taking these steps, you will be on your way to a successful career as an instructional coach.